I'm going to do a book review video. I have 6 books. They don't really have a theme. They're just random. So let's get started. Now, this book I wouldn't recommend you read unless you're going to travel there because I read the whole thing, and I mean, I'm not going to be traveling there or whatever, but for a really long time down the road. But I got these books at a book sale, this big book sale, and there was tons of these traveling books, and they were all the Eyewitness travel guides. And I bought 3 of them, and this is the second one. I think the first one was about Italy or something. I don't remember. This is the Egypt one, and this is what it looks like. And I liked it. I mean, it is a traveling book, and I would want to go there and travel the world and stuff. So I just got a couple books. The other one's about Corsica, I think. I think that's like an island or something. But it was a nice book. It was nice. I mean, there's lots of like pictures in it. There's places you can go to eat, to sleep, to look at. There's maps in there. They're divided into color-coordinated sections. So it's area color codes. There's Cairo, around Cairo, the Nile Valley, Sinai and the Red Sea coast, the Delta and the North coast, the Western deserts, and then the traveler's needs in the back, and the survival in the back. Survival is just like practical information, travel information, the index. And the travelers is where to stay, where to eat, and shopping in Egypt. And I liked it. It was a nice book. I mean, there was a lot of stuff about Egypt that I didn't know. So it was a really interesting book. And even if you were traveling, instead of just looking on the internet, I would say I would rather just get a book from the library, like the Eyewitness travel books, and read about it. Even if you're just going to go there and tour one place or something, I would want to know a lot about it. And that book was really helpful. So this book is sort of like a historical fiction book, and this is by Philippa Gregory, and she writes mostly about like the early English royalty, like Henry VIII, stuff like that. And this one was about Queen Mary, one of Henry VIII's daughters, I think. And it's called The Queen's Fool, and this book was just okay. It wasn't really great in my opinion. This is what it looks like. Now, it doesn't really go in chapters. It goes by the season and the year. So sometimes it's like, and this, I don't remember the dates, but it's like, oh, autumn 1565 to 67 or something like that. I don't know. It's something like that. So the chapters or the seasons are really long, and I didn't like it. It's about Queen Mary. Well, it was about this girl. She was like, she would dress up like a boy to try to get money, and this one guy who works for the king decided to use her as the fool for the court, and he died, and then she became Queen Mary's fool, and she's supposed to be able to see into the future sometimes, not on her own merit. It just happens occasionally, and she's trying to help Queen Mary, and she's trying to get Catherine, Henry VIII's other daughter, to the throne and stuff like that. It was a really okay book. It wasn't really great. It was really dry in my opinion. Like, nothing really exciting was happening in the book. At least in my opinion, it wasn't great. At least, like, some of her books I feel like are better than others. I mean, I read some of her books before, and that one was like a miss. Like, it wasn't good. So these books I'm going to show you, they're hardback books, and I got these at a library book sale and a regular book sale. And they're by Emily Thomas, and these books are about, I don't know if this is a real place in Pennsylvania, but it's the Blue Hill Library. And it's about the same characters throughout the whole series, and I love these books. These books are a good read. They don't take, like, you could finish it in a day or two. They're usually, like, between 22 chapters are in the 20s, and then one of them I'm going to show you only had 18 chapters in it, and there's always an excerpt from her next book, and then there's also like a recipe in it, which I don't know, because I don't think they ever made the recipe in the book anywhere. At least I don't think they did. So this one, and these books, I mean, they probably go in some order, but I just read them as I got them. And this is called Unlocking the Truth. It's Secrets of the Blue Hill Library series by Emily Thomas. And this is what it looks like. Now this book is about, it's like a back in the day kind of story. It's Annie. Annie is the woman who owns the library because her Aunt Edie died and left it to her, and the house and everything like that. And this piece of newspaper comes to her, or it's a letter, and it's from when she went to homecoming back in 1996. And the person who sent it to her, there was like something in it that said, oh, like there was a tragic accident that night and stuff like that. And she doesn't understand because she doesn't remember that tragic accident, and how the person who wrote the article was saying how these people, like her friends and some people that were at the homecoming, were suspects and they needed to be notified about it or whatever. So she goes and she hunts down all the people that were at that night to figure out who sent this letter or newspaper clipping and what tragic accident happened that day. And it's like, these books are really good. Like, I really like this one. I really didn't know who did it until the end. I mean, her books usually, like, one book I did know what happened at the end, but the other books I really don't know, because you know how usually sometimes you can, like, tell, like, you can tell who did it before they even get to the end of the book. This is called Shadows of the Past, and this is what it looks like. I think this one is the first book in the series. I'm not sure. I mean, they're not numbered or anything, so you can't really tell which one is the number 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and 5, and so on. But this one was another good book. It was about, she goes up into her attic, and she finds this map that was like an original map that Lewis and Clark made on their expedition back in the 1800s. And a lot of people are trying to steal it from her, and she's trying to figure out who did it, because this map is worth a lot of money because it belonged to, like, the historical society, the town's historical society, and it was stolen. And if this is a stolen one, she could get money for it, but she has to figure out, okay, who really stole this map, and how did it end up in her attic, in this trunk, or wherever she found it at. They're really good books. Like, even, I would think, like, they would be, like, even a young adult could read them, because there's not a lot of, like, sex or violence in them or anything like that. So these next 2 books I bought at a book sale, big, huge book sale, and they're mystery books, too. And they're really good. I mean, not all of them, I'm going to say this right out, because they're both animal themed and they're bird themed. But let me tell you, they are not all animal related mystery books. They're not. So you guys know. So this is Donna Andrews, and I never heard of her before. Well, I never heard of Emily Thomas either. This is called The Penguin Who Knew Too Much. It's a Megan Langslow mystery. This is what it looks like. Now, this book, I mean, I don't read, these are in order too, but I just read them as I get them because that's how I roll. And what happens in this book is Megan and her boyfriend / fiance are moving into their new house. And her dad is like, he's like a mystery author, book reader buff. And what happens is this zoo, the guy who owns this zoo decided that, well, he needed a lot of money to pay off his debts. So he gives these animals to people to keep until he gets enough money to pay back his debts and then can open the zoo again. Because nobody's going to be able to feed them and stuff like that until he gets the money. So he gives them the people so that they can take care of them until he gets the money. And they find his body in her basement. And the reason why it's called The Penguin Who Knew Much is because the penguins are one of the zoo animals and stuff. That I think they help Megan or Meg solve the mystery. This one I liked a little bit better. And then the chapters are really short in these books. And it's called All's Well That Ends Well. It's like a spin-off or a spoof of Shakespeare's All's Well That Ends Well. And it's by the same author. This is what it looks like. And this takes place at a flea market. It takes place, not a flea market, at a yard sale where she's getting rid of all the junk that's in her house, the new house that she was in the Penguin book. And she's decluttering it, and all of her friends and relatives are coming to sell their old stuff too. And somebody gets murdered, and the murder weapon is this owl bookend and this book. And it's the guy who's murdered or died is somebody who the town really doesn't like. So everybody could be a suspect. And she has to go on the hunt to find out who did it and why was one of the guys who bought this owl book and framed, stuff like that. They were all really good books. The last 4 were anyway. So that was my book review video. Comment below and tell me some books you want me to read or recommend me read, or if you read any of these books. Please subscribe, share this video, like this video, give this video a thumbs up. I'll see you guys next time with another video, and I hope you guys have a wonderful day.